What's going on, YouTube? This is ParkerLad88 coming at you with another video. Today I've got another deck profile for you guys featuring my updated Gem Knights. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get started with our monsters. We start off by running 3 copies of one of the main Gem Knights in the form of Gem Knight of Obsidian, 3 of them. So what this guy does is when he's sent to the graveyard from your hand, so basically whenever you fusion summon, you get to special summon one level 4 or lower Gem Knight monster, one level 4 or lower normal monster from your graveyard. He's your primary means of swarming the field with Gem Knights. Next up, we run 3 copies of the Pyro aspect of this deck in the form of 3 copies of Zardonyx, in addition to being a beater and a Pyro, so we can get out Citron. He also has a nifty little beat over effect where you get to search for a Gem Knight card whenever you kill something. He's an 1800 attacker, so he's really great all around. Next up, we run one of my favorites in the form of Gem Knight Amber. What Amber does is add recyclability, in addition to being a Thunder, so we can go for Prismora if we need to. He also lets you toss a Gem Knight card from your hand to target one of your banished monsters and add it back to your hand. So he kind of brings the whole thing together. You banish the Obsidian with Gem Knight Fusion, and you activate his ability in order to add the Obsidian back to hand and just keep on recycling and swarming the field. So I really love him for bringing the deck all around. Next up, we run 1 copy of Iolite. Iolite offers recyclability in a different way. If you don't have any Gem Knight monsters in your graveyard, but you do have Gem cards, you have Gem monsters, what you can do is activate his ability, which is to banish one of those Gem monsters in order to add a Gem Knight card back to your hand. So you can banish the Gem Knight monsters, you can banish Gem Turtle, Gem Armadillo, it's really great. So I run 1 copy of him just in case. And then the last Gem Knight monster we run is Tourmaline. So what Tourmaline lets us do is basically go for Topaz. Topaz has some pretty nutty plays that you can do behind Diamond. And I think that Topaz is a great standalone card on its own. So I like having Tourmaline in the deck just to make sure that I can go for him whenever I need him. For support monsters, we run 3 copies of Gem Armadillo. He is the Stratos, so we have to do it. We still run 1 copy of Gem Turtle, even though we have Absorb Fusion now, and it gives us the ability just to add Gem Knight Fusion that way. The name of the game is still get Gem Knight Fusion as fast as you can. So I run 1 copy of him. Most people won't expect it now with the new support, and the fact that he's a 4, he's a rock, which means you can use him for fusion summoning, and the fact that he's a 2k wall means he'll just stick around that much longer and I can use him for extra plays. And the last 2 monsters that we run are Crystal Rose. Crystal Rose is a great support card for Gem Knights because it's a Prisma, basically. You toss a Gem Knight monster straight from your deck, and he takes on the name of that monster. You can also special summon him from out the graveyard by banishing a fusion monster. It is a light, so I can use it to go for Seraph Knight, and Seraph Knight is awesome, and it's just great all-around card. Lets me dump Gem Knights, all that good stuff. And that does it for all the monsters. So, let's go for the spells. We start by running the main card, of course, running the show in the form of Gem Knight Fusion. We run 3 of them. You have to get to this card as fast as you can to catalyze your plays and whatnot. I won't explain what it does. You guys know what this does. It's been around forever. Next up, we run 3 copies of a new support card in the form of Brilliant Fusion. Brilliant Fusion is awesome because it's a future fusion for Gem Knights. You send any monsters that you want to fusion summon as a Gem Knight fusion monster straight from your deck to the graveyard, and the monster comes out with 0 attack and 0 defense. It has the added ability, It has the added ability of allowing you to toss a spell card from your hand, which we have plenty of, to restore that monsters that you brought out with this thing's effect, original attack and defense, until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's great. It loads up your graveyard with Gem Knights, so you can do crazy plays with Gem Knight Fusion later. And then on top of that, what it allows you to do is just get an instant Gem Knight Fusion monster on the field, which is great. Next up, we run the best support card next to Gem Knight Fusion in the form of Absorb Fusion. Lets you search for Gem Knight Fusion, lets you search for anything you want, which is wonderful. The only thing that it's not so great about it is that you can fusion summon with this card, but you banish the materials from your hand and field as opposed to just sending it to the graveyard, which makes this card not so good. Or that effect not so good, but the card's amazing. Next up, we run 2 Gemini Sparks. So we have 6 targets, but I don't always get them on the field. I always bounce between 2 and 3, but we're trying 2 for right now in favor of, some other things. I don't always get them out on the field, so putting this at 2 is working out pretty great for me right now. You send a Gemini monster to the graveyard, pop something, draw a card, it's great. Next up, we run 2 copies of White Elephant's Gift, our draw support. We have plenty of normal monsters, our non-effect monsters in this deck. Toss them, draw 2. Next up, we run 2 MST to remove back row and 1 Raigeki because, well, Gem Knights. Gem Knights like to go in. That does it for all the spells. Next up, we have traps. We have my favorite Gem Knight trap support card in the form of Gem Enhancement. It adds a lot of utility to the deck, a lot of protection, because you tribute a Gem Knight monster on your field, and as long as you have a Gem Knight monster in your graveyard, you can special summon back that same monster. So if you're going to run your fusions, then try and bottomless it, or something crazy happens, you can just chain this and get the monster back instead of nothing ever happens. It's great. Next up, we have 1 Draw Average. You guys know what this card does. You target 5 cards in your graveyard, shuffle it back, draw 1 card. I might take this out just because in Gem Knight you generally want to keep your Gem Knight monsters in your graveyard so you can banish the Gem Knight fusion and go for wacky plays. But my initial concept for running this was because of Brilliant Fusion. I want to use Brilliant Fusion more, and after you use the first Brilliant Fusion, you really don't need the other ones. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll keep this around for now, but time will tell, I guess. Another new support card, Brilliant Spark. Brilliant Spark is awesome. When one of your Gem Knight monsters will be killed by your opponent, you target the Gem Knight monster, deal your opponent damage equal to that Gem Knight monster's attack. I don't know about you, this is a pretty strong, monster. 2900, damage straight to the face. Nothing really to laugh at. It also has the added ability of being able to toss a spell card from your hand in order to get this back into your hand. You can do that once per chain, so it's funny because you can actually disrupt plays. You can make things miss timing with this if you use it properly. Very interesting. Then we've got 1 copy of Solemn Warning, 1 Torrent, 1 Bottomless, and then 2 Great New Skills. A little extra defense in a deck that doesn't play the greatest defense, but, I wanted to add some more defensive options. Next up, we're going to get into the extra deck. We start by running 1 copy of the big boss daddy monster himself in the form of Gem Knight Diamond, Master Diamond. So what this guy does is gain 100 extra attack points for every Gem Knight monster that is in your graveyard. He also has the added ability of being able to banish one of the level 7 or lower Gem Knight monsters, and he takes on the effects of those monsters. This allows him to do crazy things. It allows you to get an extra normal summons. You can use Seraph Knight. It allows you to burn by using one of the new Gem Knights. You can attack like a Citron, like an Armades if you ban a Citron. And then it also, my favorite thing, is to combine it with Topaz, banish Topaz, so I can attack twice and deal attack damage to my opponent. So he's a great guy. Next up, run 2 copies of Waifu, Gem Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond. This card is awesome fully because it can bring out this card. But what this card does, in addition to being a wonderful 3400 attacker, is you send 1 Gem Knight monster, including herself or anything else that's on the field, to the graveyard in order to special summon one of the fusion monsters, ignoring its summoning conditions. Allows you to set up for some really crazy plays. Next up, we still run one of my favorite fusions in the form of Zirconia. He's a great option, non-effect monster, so I can toss him in order to draw cards. And then he's a 29 attacker, so he beats over a lot of stuff. He's really easy to fusion summon, since everything in here that's not Gem Knight is rock. Next up, we have 2 copies of Spot Removal in the form of Gem Knight Glismora. Toss a Gem Knight card, pop a face up, really good at getting rid of problem things in your way. Might cut him down to 1 in favor of trying some of the other Gem Knights, but I like him at 2 right now. Next up, we run what is considered the best Gem Knight, and I would have to agree that he is definitely one of the best. He's definitely not the best, but he is a really good card. We have Gem Knight Citron. He is the original Armades. He is the OG. He is great, and I don't need to say anything more about it. Next up, we have one of the new cards. We have Gem Knight Lady Lapis Lazuli. Gem Knight Lapis Lazuli is, as Neo Dark I would say, Dark Strike Fighter V-Fusion. What you do is you toss a Gem Knight monster from either your deck or your extra deck, which is really cool because it sets up Master Diamond. Deal 500 life points of damage to your opponent for each special summon monster in the field. So this behind Diamond is really simple. You can burn with her, use Master Diamond's effect to banish her, and burn for even more damage. It's pretty darn crazy. It really helps out Gem Knight's OTK, even though they really did need it. And its other effect, also helps you get Gem Knights in the grave, which is very good for Gem Knights. Next up, we have 1 copy of Topaz. He is a double attacker, really great in the open field, especially doing stupid combos with Gem Enhancement because you can attack like 4 times for 7,200 damage. This behind Master Diamond, also very stupid. I like keeping him around. It's really cool because you can actually banish, or not banish, you can send him to the graveyard with Lapis Lazuli in order to set up your Master Diamond. So there's a little thought as well. Then another one of my favorites is Seraph Knight. Seraph Knight gives you an extra normal summon of any monster. Not just Gem Knights, it's any monster you want. So this helps you swarm the field even more because you can activate Amber's effect even more times. So it's a great card, and it's very, very pretty. Next up for Exceeds, we have 1 copy of Pearl. So you might be wondering, with all the Exceeds, why would I run Pearl? Pearl is an extra Gem Knight, it beats for 26, which is really good considering it only requires 2 4s, and I can toss him with White Elephant's Gift to get an extra Gem Knight from Grave, and I draw 2 off of it, so I think he's a great option in this deck. We also have 1 copy of Castel, and we have 1 copy of Daigusto Emerald. Daigusto Emerald, once again, I could probably run other things, but it's a Gem Knight, I have to run it. And it actually synergizes pretty well considering that all of our Gem Knights, most of them, are normals, and it helps me to recycle some of my monsters back if I send them all with Brilliant Fusion. And that does it for the extra guide. So guys, that is my Gem Knight deck profile. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back at you later with future videos. This is Parker Lag.